Join us for a Tesla Model 3 full review with a racetrack special. Let's go! The front here, by the way, in my Thomas Blue favorite color, they should rename it that way, don't you think so? Well, the hood here is very, very low, again, but all sleek design lines. And I see a little bit of a proportion problem when the hood is very low, and then there's this big glass house on top that can look a little bit less beautiful than, for example, the Tesla Model S, where the hood is also a little bit longer than too. But then again, a low hood has also an advantage. You'll soon see it from the interior. 4.70 m, 15'4" or 185 inches is the length of the Tesla Model 3, so it's a mid-size sedan. And the special design feature here is, again, as we've seen with the other Teslas, this very sharp design right here at the end of the rear windows. Other than that, special feature also with those door handles that they are seamlessly integrated. Cameras all over the vehicle, for example, also right there. They're used also for the Autopilot system, which is now also included not only with the things that go in your lane, but also for changing lanes. Wheels come with 18-inch standard, then it's 19 inches of optional available, and those ones here are the 20-inch, because this one is the performance model. Comes with 20-inch wheels and with red brake calipers. Those one then are the special Brembo brakes as well. We'll test them on the track later. The rear does resemble a Model S a little bit more, especially with this tail lamp design right there. The performance model of the Model 3 also gets this carbon rear lip. This is a special feature for that. Other than that, again, you see those rather sleek design lines, so they already try to reduce the amount of design lines here in the rear. Also says here dual motor, because this is the performance model. Overall, talking about the end, it's not engines, it's motors when we talk about electric motors. You start with a rear-wheel drive motor only, so just at the rear axle, 50 kWh battery, and then there's a bigger 75 kWh battery. Then you also get the dual motor, so one motor in the rear and one motor in the front. You have an all-wheel drive without a mechanical link. It will still work together, somehow communicate. Special feature about that one coming up in the track mode. Well, and then with this dual motor setup, they can reach an acceleration figure of just about a little bit over 3 seconds to 60 miles an hour or to 1 kilometers an hour. And the base entry level version with the 50 kWh battery and just a rear motor, that one would be over 5 seconds in the acceleration figure, so that's the difference. The charging port is right here. You can open it from the inside of the vehicle, or like this, press it, and then you see this different than the one from the Tesla Model S or X. So the Tesla Model 3 uses CCS, the both together, for the DC charging, 150 kilowatt max, and just the AC would be then the 11 kilowatt charger. So when you get to the interior, you usually press your thumb right in there and then you open it like this. I mean, you have this full integration then of the door handle. It's good for wind efficiency, for example. It's a little bit more complicated to open it like with a normal door handle. So it's also like a little bit matter of taste or what you get used to it. Then the inside, interesting thing is all material they were used is all leather red. So it's nothing here at the inside of the door from animal source. That's really a step forward. You can see already this clean design. You open the door right here, by the way. This is to open the door from the inside. Very interesting. Then the interior is also kept pretty simple because, for example, here you have this white interior, then you have this white inlet right there, and also the white full leatherette seats. And it's really cool because they feel very, very soft, and so no one could really see at first sight or feel at first sight that it's not animal based. So it's actually quite cool. You might also ask yourself, if you go for the white interior, about stains and stuff. Yes, of course, they collect stains more easily than darker seats. However, they can also be wiped quite well, so it's not too big of a problem then. And I mean, I would always go for those ones. It just looks so cool and so much more amazing than the black ones. But again, it's of course just personal taste. Which one would you go for? The steering wheel, you can see, is also kept quite clean and simple. This is the whole scheme of this car, this simplistic layout. In the lowest position, let me put it in the lowest position just for a second. I'm 1.86 m or 6'1", and that leaves still plenty of room up to this panoramic roof, because this one is not one you can open. It's a gone-through panoramic roof, but then it also ensures you quite a lot of headroom. Now welcome to this very clean interior overview. You see just a horizontal stress here, then this 15-inch screen is the central of the vehicle. Speed will be just displayed on the top left part, and everything that, almost buttonless, everything clean. The steering wheel is way smaller in diameter than with the Model S and Model X. It also fits to the smaller car, and also when we, for example, use it on the racetrack. Why not? Again, just those two knobs here to do like some controls. On the right side, for example, here for controlling the volume. On the left side here, you can also activate the voice input. Now here to the screen details. I mean, when you look at this map here and how fast it's reacting, it's one of the fastest responsiveness we've seen in all the automotive industry. And look at the resolution. This is really amazing, and it also shows the CPU power. Really very cool. And of course, you can see a lot of it. It has more this horizontal view if you compare it to the X, and the S will have more this vertical layout. Again, the speed will be displayed right there. You could open the front or the trunk and the charging opening. Phone will be connected. We have Bluetooth for the phone function and so on. No Apple CarPlay or Android Auto function for the Teslas. But most of the stuff is also okay then with using the Bluetooth function. Driving, you can, for example, go to the standard regenerative braking or low, so you have both the possibilities if you rather want a one pedal drive feeling or a little bit less from the regeneration. That's very interesting. Also how to turn in the creep mode or not. This is, well, it's not creepy, but the creep mode. So when you leave off the brake pedal, that the car rolls a little bit like with an automatic car with an ICE, or that it doesn't do it. So you can pick that on your preference. Very interesting. Display changing brightness, for example. So a lot to play around here within the system. The glove box you can open right there. The temperature you would change actually at the lower part. This will always stay that way. Also seat heating. So it is somewhat easily accessible, but not so much while driving. I think it's easier here to put like AC 22 degrees Celsius or then the according equivalent in Fahrenheit and leave it like that while driving. That's how it's also set out to, because if you would do a lot of stuff here in the big screen while driving, indeed that might be distracting. So let's get inside. Here in the rear, I have the seat as I would be driving with my 1.86 or 6'1". And since this, you're really close to the panoramic roof, but you can sit exactly here also with 4 tall adults, so I have some space above my head. Also knee room. That's also totally fine. So the using of space here due to this electric platform is actually quite good. But then again, for example, when you open the door, this is like a very sharp corner right here. And this would be actually where you quite often tend to touch the car. So again, one detail they need to fix. I hope Tesla engineers are also watching right now, so they can address, for example, details like those. So sitting here in the middle seat in the rear is actually quite cool. I mean, you have also sufficient headroom. It's also quite soft from the seating. Of course, the outer seats are more comfortable, yes. Isofix, by the way, at the outer seats. But since I don't have a middle tunnel here, I don't have to put my feet next to my neighbors. I can really have them central, and also the middle console has some space underneath, so I can really put my feet right here. And now what about the trunk space we have here available? My wish would have been that the Model 3 was, like this fastback opening. Have to wait for the Model Y, the smaller SUV or mid-size SUV that will be coming up on the very same platform. Then here, there's the hatch. Somewhat limited, but I think, it's quite far here, so you can very well access it. There's some more space underneath, for example, for the charging cable. And I mean, this is reasonable space underneath. You can even put a cabin trolley in there in just this hole. Very interesting. There you can see the rest. So, and then, I mean, those front seats are a little bit more forward than they would be actually while we drive. So, this is then here 2 meters, so up to front seat. So, longer things to transport. Well, and then there's even more luggage space here with the front trunk. And here for a comparison again, this is again the white interior, together here in this case with a black vehicle on the exterior, black paint. And then we have the black interior, so we can pick those two. This one here with the black or the dark seats. And you have this combination then, for example, with the matte wood. Welcome to this driving experience of the Tesla Model 3, and you can see here when I'm easing it around, the turning circle is not too narrow, I feel, by the way, but the resolution of the rear camera is pretty cool here in the screen. I will not start in the track mode because the first thing I'll do is the 0 to 100 kilometers or 0 to 60 miles acceleration. And the thing is, it does not matter here if I'm in track mode or not for the acceleration. Then for the next exercise, I will turn on the track mode. So now check the speed, kmh, so kilometers per hour, and I'll just hammer it through. Beware. It's like, a C63 power performance wise. Let's go. Wow. That is amazing, right? Wow. That's really like spaceship alike, and also, again, like an M3 or like a C63. And here this is like a wet circle, and when I'm in the standard mode, all those assistance systems, they just keep the car in lane. You cannot do anything basically. You cannot slide the car around, maybe just a little bit, but you hear the brakes are being, the tires are, everything is tight. So, and to turn on the track mode, you have to stand still. Put it to P here on the right side, then go here to the track mode, yes, confirm. So now I'm in the track mode. But the thing is, normally with other performance cars, the stability control would be just drawn back. But here even more systems are active, but since we have then more torque on the rear motor, I can actually slide the car out a little bit like this, you see here. So it is actually possible then to play around with this vehicle. The thing is, it does not convey, see here, the systems are still somewhat active, or as I said, it doesn't draw it back, there's more stuff active. The whole cooling system changed, the distribution front to rear axle from the motors, this is changing, and also the overall torque steering functions. This is all changing now with the track mode. So it's not, again, deactivating system, it's activating more systems. And that's very interesting. Acceleration is just the same, but we'll see a difference then in handling. So although more systems are being activated, the car will get somewhat a little bit more loose, so to say, but not as loose, of course, as you would have a normal racing car where you deactivate all the systems. Let's go. Here back to the cones. Hard braking. You feel that those tires have been working on quite a lot. And you might also pick it on camera that I can work the car a little bit more. I feel that the rear end is giving me a little bit more room to play. And when I apply some throttle, the rear end comes around a little bit more just. Slow corner right here. When I accelerate out, then I feel I have a little bit more agility. And that's what this track mode is for. Now here, really hard on the throttle and on the straight. And look how fast we can pick up the speed. And well, do I miss the sound? Of course, it's very spectacular to have the sound here in the race car then. But you can have a lot of fun even without the sound. It's very interesting here, the first electric racing episode we're having here on Autogefuehl. So yes, you can have a little bit more fun, a little bit more loose feeling in this track mode indeed. But again, it's no comparison as you would have with turning off all the ESC systems in like an M3 or like a C63 or something. So that's really something different. One of the biggest difference is really the suspension, because I'm a fan of rather soft suspensions for everyday driving life, but for the racetrack, this suspension here does not give you the suitable racing response. I think you can also pick that up on camera. Very impressive ride, definitely, and together with some modifications, I think, for like suspension, especially suspension modifications, I think you can really make this one a great track car. Definitely has the potential for that. So, last corners for you without any reporting. Just enjoy the corners and the non-engine sound, rather the squeaking tires. And now to street driving the Tesla Model 3 with Thomas's driving lounge, the normal driving. We also still have the performance model with the 20-inch wheels here, and of course the sporty performance. And when you go over some bumps, you feel that you have just a fixed suspension with the 20-inch wheels. It will be a little bit better with smaller wheels, and also when you don't pick the performance suspension. That again would be my tip for the everyday driving life for a Model 3. So get the big battery capacity, but then not the performance model, not with the sportier lower suspension, not with the 20-inch wheels. Will of course still be okay. So I'm driving that one here now, but if you're seeking the best driving comfort, the other choice will be a little bit better. One of the big questions was initially, what about the speed when you don't really see it? And indeed, GT cars going to the track. And when you see it here right on the screen, you have to look a little bit to the side, yes, but it's still somewhat okay because it's very bright and also big. However, still sticking to my claim that a head-up display would be a great addition, with one of the features they could make optional. And again, you get a very smooth driving feeling. You can very well control the throttle input. You just lift the throttle and the car decelerates just a little bit more. So I'm hardly using the brakes myself. If you, for example, here stick behind the other cars, you just leave a little bit off the throttle, and then it's already just fine. So I just checked the car infotainment system and saw that this car was built before the current specs, so this is not equipped with the Autopilot system. Every new vehicle you buy will be automatically equipped with the Autopilot, and as I said earlier, not only with the base one, but also with the extended one now that also can do lane changes and everything. Again, you're supposed to keep your hand on the steering wheel at the moment still. The fully autonomous version is not yet regulated. So first technology will be ready for that, and then probably after that the regulations for that. And well, I actually had to reset the consumption meter after we were going like some up and downhill and so on, and now we were like 15 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, and that's exactly the EPA figure. That's really amazing. So that would be as promised, both in kilometer and miles range. That would really mean that you have like some 14, 15 kilowatt hour per 100 kilometers, maybe even a little bit lower, or some like 23, 24 kilowatt hours per 100 miles. That would indeed mean a range here for the bigger battery of 300 miles or almost 500 kilometers. That's pretty amazing. So especially the regeneration seems to be even more efficient now, and also especially when you keep it on the chill mode and really just smooth ease through traffic. And now to our conclusion for today with the Tesla Model 3. There's so much I can tell you about this vehicle, even in the conclusion, even if I have to take a short summary. The exterior is definitely very sleek. The design, is of course in the front a little bit Porsche-alike, yes, but they also have formed their own identity. I think, to me, the Tesla Model S, because it has this longer hood and so on, looks a little bit sleeker. But then again, this very flat hood you have there in the front also is good for the visibility from the interior. The interior, very simplistic. I like this very clean styling. It's a totally new and unique approach, just with this central monitor and basically nothing else. Really good that we're almost getting rid of all the animal-sourced materials, more sustainable, more animal-friendly, and of course better also if you think about allergies and so on, because less chemicals are being used. So definitely they are stepping ahead there in a lot of different ways. On the other hand, there are still some parts with questionable build quality. I mean, we can just say that out loud. That's, you could see that in little details there. And I raised this question earlier. There's still some squeaking tires here from the racetrack next to us. So I raised this question earlier. What's more important, to have like a very clever concept overall, or to be very good in the details? Well, I think it is somewhat more important to have the base concept with a very intelligent one, and that is this vehicle. It's a great concept. You have a nice interior with a good space offering. You use this electric building platform frunk, and the normal trunk is really large considering it's a mid-size sedan, and of course a quite efficient electric drive overall. That works pretty well. They really have to pay attention to the details now if they want to keep it up with the premium competition. But I think this is, on the long run, a problem that can still be solved. And driving-wise, it was very nice to drive it on the road. Again, this simplistic interior calms you down, together, of course, with the silent EV drive. I really love that. On the racetrack, well, it was very performant in a way that the acceleration is really awesome. You have this instant torque, that's it with the electric vehicles, and also the different electric motors they have been using also with the new motor detail I told you earlier. So this was very impressive. However, the agility as for the cornering, of course, the car somewhat comes to the limit right there. It's not thought out to be that main competitor of an M3 or C63. I think overall very unique and interesting vehicle. But now I want to know, what do you think about those different aspects we have covered? Please join our discussion in the comments, and also join us next time at Autogefuehl.